Hi, and thank you for watching this video. So in this video, we'll look at Docker and how we can use it to package our application and then move it from one environment onto another environment and then hopefully see how it all comes together. So you can see on here in my background, my desktop background, I've got a Docker local application running. So that's been set up, configured, and ready to go basically. And I'm currently pointing at the images section of Docker, which is also empty. I've cleared it purposely for this video. And if I click on containers, likewise, I've emptied it as well for this video. So we can, make a start fresh and then see how things come together. So as a quick, as a quick introduction to Docker, Docker is a useful tool which can be used to package a local application which is being run on a local machine, and then move it from one environment, which is the local environment, onto another environment as well. And then hopefully it should run in any environment you put it. You place it in without any need to configure settings and any other dependencies basically. So it's quite useful as you can pick one application from one place and drop it elsewhere, and everything should operate as it did in the previous place. So that's that. If we move on to my application, which we're going to use in this video here. So this is a C# application being run in Visual Studio, and it's a test automation framework, spec framework basically, which what it does is it's targeting an e-commerce website, and on there it's trying to mimic real life user journey basically. So typically what a normal user would do on a day-to-day basis. So land on an e-commerce website, access their account or their membership account, update their profile, maybe change address, and also filter through some products and take it all the way to the cart or shopping basket and hopefully pay for it. So this framework tends to copy the same format, but rather when it gets to all the way to the end, which is the shopping cart, it doesn't proceed to pay for an item. So as you can see on here, I've got a few tests that's been configured. So in my feature files, I've got about 5 or 6 tests, possibly more. And here we can see. So before running this video, or before recording this video, I did a test run, and you can see on here there are various results that's come back. So the results are varying. We've got 4 that's passed, 1 that's failed, and 1 that's not been run. So at a later date, I will go in there and address the reason why the one has not been run and the reason why one has failed as well. But as it is, it should be good. We should be able to use it as an example with Docker and see how it all works. So to make a start, we have this file here, which I've already put together, and that is a Docker file. Now, the Docker file is very important in any application you're trying to shift from one environment to another environment, because this is the file which Docker itself will communicate with, and you will try to, like I said before at the beginning of the video, create an image out of it and then move it along. So if we go through this file, we will look at the very top line, and what it's doing is this is the SDK version. Now we set it as 8.0. This is because that's the version my C# application is running on, basically. And then moving on from there, we've got a working directory. Now this is where Docker is a path or the location whereby Docker will store all this exercises trying to do with my C# project. And then moving on from there, we've got what we call a CS project file. Now in any C# or spectral application, shall I say, the CS project file is the main character really. It's a file which basically runs the entire application. So what happens in this situation is Docker will copy this file and then it will use it, as part of the processing building the image. So once it does this, it will then come back and copy everything else in my project here. So you can see all these files or all these classes and feature files, everything, basically all the configuration in here. Docker will copy it and it will continue to build the image, like I said, and then publish it once it's done, which is at this stage. And then from there, it will move on to what we call an entry point. Now in the entry point, it will create this file here. So M&M direct example project.ddl file. Now the purpose of this file is anytime Docker is launched and is being asked or is being tasked to, you know, play around with my project's application here, it will call on this file to make that happen. And lastly, we're looking at the port. So typically 8080 is the port, but we've gone with 80 as well. So that is the in a nutshell the Docker file, and basically its purpose and what is intended to do. So that's being done, and the next thing for us to do is to run some commands to build our image. Now, for the purpose of time, I have already put together these commands, so I will not type them. So what I'll do is I'll just paste them into the Visual Studio command line, and then we can hopefully see some actions being taken by Docker, and then take it from there. So the first line, the first command to paste on this line is the Docker build command. So in here, what he's doing is going to build the image, and this is the name I have given it. Now you will see that everything in here is in lower cases, and over here my project naming, some are in upper, some are in lower. Now Docker is quite sensitive when it comes to lowercase and uppercasing, so usually everything tends to work well when it's lower cases. When you start, mixing upper and lower cases, it tends to basically dislike it. So once we hit run at this stage, okay, so we should see Docker build our image. So as you can see on here, it will go from step 1 all the way to 10. Now it's changed to 12. And then once that's been built, hopefully we shouldn't see any errors. Okay. So it looks like it's 12 out of 12, so that's finished. That's fine. We didn't see any errors, so that is good news. At this point, we can simply, it might be early, but we can simply just go and check to see if anything has been created in our images here. And as you can see in the Docker local application, an image has been created for our project, which is good as well. So if we revert back to our project, we can run the following command, which what it does is it will tag the image that you created on our Docker application. It will give it a tag for when it's pushing it to into DockerHub, basically. So if we paste this command here, and as you can see on here, it's tagging the image, and in my DockerHub login is here, and then it will paste that in my DockerHub, basically. So from local Docker application onto Docker Hub as well. So once I hit enter at this point, that should take place successfully. So no error has been returned. So that tells me everything has been done well. So the next command that we're going to do is a tag has been created on our Docker Hub, which is good. So what we'll do is we will now push the Docker image into our Docker Hub from our local Docker application. So to do this, we will run this command here, which is docker push the image into Comasco, being the Docker Hub username, and then this is the image that will be pushed. So we will hit enter at this stage, and it will try and push the image really. So as you can see on here, it's going through its stages, and hopefully at some point we'll come back and say it's passed, is what they've done well, and hopefully we will not see any errors. Okay, so that's good news. We can see on here we've got a reference number that's come back for this job. So that has been pushed to our Docker Hub as well. So the next thing for us to do is to sort of like navigate to the environment or the system, the environment which we wanting to put our image in from Docker Hub. So in PowerShell, I have connected to a cloud system that we're going to use. So this is an AWS EC2 instance which I've created like a server. And in here, we've established a connection from my local machine, which is the system I'm recording this video on, and we've connected it to that server, really. So the connection has been established through SSH. And as you can see on here, I have run the SSH command, and through some verifications and security configurations, we're able to establish the connection. So as you can see on here, it says on here, EC2 user, and then we've got our IP address for that server. So the next thing we can do is, now that we are on that server, we can pull the image which has been created and pushed to our Docker Hub from our local Docker application, and we can pull it into this new server environment, really. So if I put this command here, as you can see on here, Docker pull from Comasco, which is the Docker Hub username, and then this is the image that, the container that will be pulled, basically. So if I hit enter at this point, okay, we can see on here that image is being pulled, and some of it already exists because I've run this exercise previously and I've deleted it, and then now I have come back to run it again. So it's got traces of previous practices I've done and the current one which has now been pulled. So we can now confirm that our exercise with Docker is basically complete. So we picked an application on my local machine, and we built an image out of it through Docker, and containerized the application itself. And what we did is we established a connection with another environment or another system where we're trying to move application to. But the middle layer here was we will push the Docker application or the Docker we'll push the Docker container into Docker Hub, and then from the new environment, we'll pull it from Docker Hub into that environment. So now that this has been done, what we can do is Docker has been configured on this server. So we can run a Docker command to see what's happening in the background. So we can simply do Docker PS, or we can change that and do Docker PS -A. You can see on here we've got a container ID as well that has come. So the next command that we can run is this command here. And we can see that the Docker has started to run. So it's running our container, which has been created here, at this port as well. Now, if you bear in mind at the very beginning, when we accessed the Docker file, we had port 8080.80, which is where application will be run. So in a nutshell, that completes this exercise. We can see how useful Docker is. We can package it and then move it from one environment, package an application, move it from one environment and drop into another environment. So thank you for watching this video, and hopefully you've learned something from it. If you are totally new to Docker, and obviously if you are fully experienced, please share your thoughts, ideas, and any shortcuts as well. Anyway, any different way I can do things as well. Always eager to learn, as always. So again, thank you for watching.